The gloves are coming off. We're about to go full court press. It's time to play ball. Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now. Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. Huddle up. This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Oh, here we go. It's Friday. It's the afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, and it's also time for WHPC Sports Talk here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Eric Pichetti. Alongside me, my good friend and co-host Nick Ornberger.
That's who I am.
Yes, I'm very happy that's who you are. Thank you for that.
Thank you for
and, of
that.
course, back from his hiatus from wrestling a moose maybe in Nashville,
What?
Matt Charkowick. What's
Hey,
going
guys.
on?
Good to be back.
Missed ya. Matt, very, very happy that you're back. But, guys, we have a ton of stuff to get to today. But first, graciously and thankfully, he devoted his time to us. Brett Borzelli, he is from Pinstripe Alley. Brett, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Very good, very good. So let's just get it rolling. Obviously, you know, the big stories as of right now is the staring contest between Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. What's going on with that? What are your whole thoughts of this whole situation lagging out this long?
Well, it's strange to be sure. You know, for the last couple of years, everybody has been talking about this free agent class and how, you know, two generational talents were going to be available. And everybody thought that the Yankees, you know, were going to duck under the luxury cap line last year so they could free up some money to sign one of these guys. And it's like they're not even interested.
It's interesting to me, Brett, because, you know, a few years ago, we looked forward. We really did look forward to this offseason as the year, you know, when the A-Rod and Teixeira and the big contracts and all these contracts were off the Yankee books finally.
Even the Sabathia and the Beltran contracts.
The Sabathia, Beltran contracts, gone. This was the year to change things. This was the year that the Yankees would be under the salary, the luxury tax. The tax would reset, and the Yankees wouldn't be afraid to go back out there and spend some big-time money. So what exactly, what has been the about face with the Yankees, or are they just playing hardball with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, expecting one of them to come down from, let's be honest, they're ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. No person is worth $360 million, $400 million over 10, 13 years. Is this just the Yankees calling their bluff, or do the Yankees really think they have a realistic shot at signing one of these guys for just a lower price point?
Yeah, it's strange, and a lot of us don't really know what to make of it, because, you know, if you look at the way the Yankees have behaved in the past, especially Brian Cashman, when they have their sights set on a guy, okay, they behave completely differently. You know, think back 10 years ago, after the Yankees missed the offseason, after the Yankees missed the postseason in 2008 for the first time since '95. You know, Cashman made up his mind he was going to go out and get the big fish. Okay, and at that time, the best pitcher available was Sabathia. The best hitter available was Teixeira. Cashman famously ducked out of the winter meetings in Vegas, flew to the San Francisco Bay Area secretly to meet with Sabathia and his wife Amber in their home so that he could woo them. He invited them to come to New York. They went to New York. He gave them a tour of the area. He talked to them about the school system. You know, he made a big presentation over it. I mean, you know, and he got his man. Sabathia signed, you know, a big contract with the Yankees. He then subsequently signed the second best pitcher available, which at the time was A.J. Burnett. And he signed Teixeira. And what happened, of course, you know, the Yankees won the World Series in 2009, and they did it running away. I mean, that was one of the best teams that they ever assembled right there. You know, he did the same thing with Masahiro Tanaka. He assembled a team with Matsui and all of these other people to give Tanaka a presentation. Look, a year ago, he did the exact same thing when they were trying to woo Ohtani.
Yep.
They put together a team. They flew out to L.A., there was like 10 people in that contingent. It's what we call the Cashman full court press. Now what is he doing? Well, with Machado, they invited Machado to come to the stadium. The reports are that he spent maybe an hour and a half at the stadium, and then they went out to dinner. They gave him what they call the scoreboard treatment. They put his picture up on the stadium scoreboard, with the CGI showing him in a Yankees cap and pinstripes. Then they went out to dinner. But word is, from sources close to the team, they never even made him a formal offer. And we now know for a fact that he never made Corbin a formal offer. I mean, look, they announced as soon as they were eliminated from the postseason that starting pitching was a huge priority. Cashman said it. Steinbrenner said it. They took Corbin out to dinner. They gave him the scoreboard treatment. They never even made him an offer before Corbin signed with Washington. And with Bryce Harper, as far as we know, they haven't even talked. They didn't talk. They didn't meet. There's no offer. So this is very odd. I can't recall Cashman ever signing a big free agent without some sort of show and tell in public. He's made some, under the radar moves that we weren't expecting, trades and stuff like that. We weren't expecting the Stanton deal last year. Yep. But trades and free agent signings are completely different. There's not. When you're talking about acquiring players who are under contract, you can't really make a show of it because that's tampering. So it's not really surprising when trades happen sort of under the radar. With free agent signings, it's totally different. I mean, there's a certain marketing value to it, and George Steinbrenner knew this. There was a certain marketing value in going out and saying, "Look, we're gonna open up the vault and we're gonna sign this guy." I mean, he did it with Catfish Hunter. He did it with Reggie Jackson. He did it with Dave Winfield. He did it with Mike Mussina. I mean, they made a big deal out of
Jason
pursuing
Giambi.
these big fish free agents and the Giambi. I mean, sure, there's a whole list of them. So they're not even taking advantage of that opportunity. And every year there's some team that we don't expect to compete. They go out and say, "Yeah, we're going to be in on the free agents." I mean, the Padres are doing it right now. They don't have any money to spend. They met with both Machado and Harper. Just within the last week, the Padres flew a contingent out to Las Vegas because Harper lives in Las Vegas. One of the owners went. The general manager went. The field manager went. We don't expect the Padres to spend any money. We didn't expect them to spend any money last year when they signed Hosmer, so I'm not saying that they won't. But this is, when you think big free agent signings, you normally don't think of the Padres. It's just not the first team that comes to mind. They finished in last place last year. The Giants now, and they had some salary cap problems. They finally got under the luxury tax line. They're, just in the last few days, one of their owners and representatives from the organization met with Harper and his people. Why? Because teams that were thought to be, in a position, number one, to afford Harper, and also who obviously need him, like the Yankees, are just, playing dumb. It's like they're not interested at all.
All right, and we are talking to Brett Borzelli from Pinstripe Alley. Now, it's funny because you mentioned Shohei Ohtani, which is now funny because being that he spurned the Yankees went out and traded for Giancarlo Stanton, and at that time his 10-year contract. But with each waking day that passes and Machado and Harper aren't signed, it makes me feel like that the Yankees aren't completely out. Now, let me just say that when they traded for Stanton last year, it took me out of the thought that they were in on Harper, but I do want to ask you, is Troy Tulowitzki and DJ LeMahieu actually stopping the Yankees from going after a guy like Manny Machado?
Well, absolutely not. I think the opposite could be true. They may have decided a while ago that they weren't really interested in Machado, and they may have decided that they were going to go after guys like a LeMahieu or Tulowitzki. I mean, Tulowitzki was just a low-risk, high-reward type of move. He was cut by the Blue Jays. So the Yankees are only on the hook for, the major league minimum next year, which is, $555,000. And of course, they did expend a roster spot to sign him. But, he's a guy who is a very high-level player in the past. I mean, he didn't play at all last year. So, there's a question of what he has left in the tank and what he can bring to the table. But, again, it's a low-risk move. But, no, you don't sign him, as insurance in case you don't get Machado. The Yankees are in a position where they can sign whoever they want to. Another thing that we haven't even mentioned yet is both Machado and Harper are on record as wanting to be Yankees. Okay, Harper gave multiple interviews, not this off season, mind you, but when he was a teenager. He was a highly regarded prospect from when he was a teenager.
And by the way, drafted.
High school days.
By the way, drafted as, if I'm not mistaken, you tell me if I'm incorrect. He was drafted as a catcher. That was his initial position to play. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I mean, the guy he was so talented, he was one of those rare players where he was so regarded, right from the beginning. He was drafted in the first round with the number 1 pick by the Nationals. He was a prodigy coming up through the system. He made his major league debut at a very young age. I mean, he's 26 now. And he was 19 when he made his debut. He's one of those guys where, once he appeared in the major league uniform, that was it. He was here to stay. He made an impact in his first year. He won the Rookie of the Year award. He got some MVP votes. He was an All-Star in his first year. He was a guy where, people, and you can't say that about everybody. I mean, there's a lot of first-round picks. There's a lot of number 1 picks who are busts.
Right.
He wasn't one of them. He was a guy where we saw him coming. He was celebrated, and he wanted to be a Yankee. He gave multiple interviews saying he dreams of the day I can wear the pinstripes. And, these guys, the union, they fought hard to get, through collective bargaining, to get these guys the rights to become free agents. And, these guys, for some of them, this is going to be their big payday. This is for a guy like Harper. I mean, Major League Baseball trade rumors is actually expecting, or they predicted him at the start of the offseason to actually get a 14-year contract.
And they actually believed that, Brett. They actually believed that somebody was going to pay this guy over $400 million over 14 years. We're talking to Brett Borzelli of Pinstripe Alley. Brett, I do have a kind of a double-sided question as we come to the close here. This offseason, in particular, it seems to me that a couple of years ago that one of these two guys may not have been considered. Keep in mind, there was a pitcher a couple of years ago that the Yankees would have been eyeing like no other. Jose Fernandez, before the boat accident, before he passed away.
Tragically.
Do you think that maybe, and I'm not trying to disparage the tragic, horrific events that led to his passing, but do you think that maybe the Yankees had their sights in mind for a starting pitcher for this offseason that, quite frankly, wasn't there, and that's why they didn't go for Corbin? And on the flip side of that, in general, and this is really my last question, How low does the bargaining price need to be for the Yankees to feel comfortable bringing a guy like Bryce Harper in to the New York Yankees?
I don't have a number in mind. It's starting to look like, though, that what Cashman may be thinking about is, look, if these guys really want to be Yankees, maybe they'll take some big discount. Another possibility is that he's not interested. I mean, look, there were some issues with Machado, with the hustle comments. There were some concerns with his sportsmanship during the postseason, some of the things he did. There were concerns about, his comments about, I'm not a hustle guy. Look, this is not the first time this issue came up. This came up with Robinson Cano, and a lot of people suspect that that's the reason why they let Cano go and sign with Seattle, because there were concerns about him not being a hustle guy and about it not playing in New York. They felt that Cano wasn't one of those guys who put fannies in the seats, which is an issue in New York. So, there are concerns about Harper. I mean, he had one monster year where he put up 10 wins above replacement, and he won the MVP. The last couple of seasons have been somewhat mediocre production-wise. So, there are, many of us have thoughts about, maybe the Yankees really just aren't all that interested. It may or may not be a money issue. Like I've said in the past, they've broken the bank to sign guys. And it's not a question of whether they're worth the money or not. Last year, Fangraphs, they placed a value of $9 million on one win above replacement. So, $300 million for a guy who's going to produce 5 or 6 WAR a year on average over 10 years. You add up the money, and they are worth it. So it's not really a question of that, and it's also not a question of whether the Yankees can afford it or not. Their revenue is well over $600 million a year, by far the highest revenue in sports. So, it seems to me like if they were really interested, they're playing a dangerous game now because, usually what happens is, a lot of teams at the beginning of the beginning of the offseason say, yeah, we're in on all these players because, they want to sign, they want to sell tickets in the offseason. They want to keep their fan base interested and engaged throughout the winter. They want to get people excited heading into spring training. And then what happens is, as numbers are exchanged, teams fall out of the running. We saw that, a week ago when I wrote that one article, and since then, 2 new teams have actually entered the fray because of the lack of interest. The Padres and the Giants weren't even on the radar screen. Harper's suitors appear to be dwindling, but because nobody was really stepping up and actually trying to seal the deal with Harper, now there's other teams involved.
Brett,
so it's really unusual. We haven't seen anything like this before.
Brett, thank you so much for your time and really appreciate your insight.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
you, Brett. That was awesome.
Brett Borzelli from Pinstripe Valley had a lot to say. And you know what? He's right. Like, you almost get the sense that the Yankees almost even aren't that interested anymore. But you know what? Again, with each waking day that goes past, it seems that Machado and Harper seem a little bit more likely to go in the Yankees' favor. But it's just a matter of they're interested in the Yankees, but are the Yankees interested in either one of these guys? So that is it for our little bit of baseball today. We got so much to get to. We got some NHL news with Eleanor Chompy. We also have the madness that comes along with the NBA trade deadline. So we will be right back. Do not change that dial or else I'll get upset.
This show is brought to you by La Piazza, pizza, pasta, and brick oven. Delivery and both on and off-premise catering also available. With locations at 1137 Old Country Road in Plainview, 2191 Merrick Road in Merrick, and their Cucina Italiana and Wine Bar at 512 Walt Whitman Road, Route 110 in Melville. More information and menus are available on the web by visiting lapiazzaonline.com.
This is kind of Eleanor's theme song.
Is this Barracuda? No, it's not. I thought it was
No, it's Kiss.
It is Kiss.
It's I Was Made for
My
Loving
buddy
You.
Travis is upset. Him and his buddy Nick, by the way, they had a baby recently, so congratulations to them.
Nice.
Not the two of them, but
nice.
But Nick and his girlfriend. Jesus.
Oh, man.
I'm ruining myself.
Yes, you are.
They're. You know what? Forget it. Let's move on.
Oh, gee, thanks. So I'm Eric Shea alongside me, Nick Ornberger.
I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are. Matt Sharkowick.
What's up?
Nothing much. And, of course, Eleanor Chompy, the true hockey maven. And you know when she's in the room, you know it's time to...
Let's do that hockey.
Hell yeah! It's time to do that hockey. But before we go on, I got to tease you just a little bit more, Eleanor. We do have... Oh, wait, no. Did he hang up? I think he hung up. But, it's okay. So, call back. Who cares? Never mind, Eleanor. No teasing. So, Eleanor, let's get right into it. The Toronto Maple Leafs and Austin Matthews agreed to a 5-year contract extension worth $58 million. The average annual salary of that, $11.63 million. Eleanor, Matthews cashed in. What do you think?
Yes, it is a huge, huge, huge signing. It's a lot of money. And Toronto does not have that much money to play with. Their cap situation right now is not great. I do think that Austin Matthews deserves it. I think that he's amazing. The only thing, he is injury prone, which can be an issue. But he is so good. He is such a big part of that Maple Leafs team. And he's so young. He's only going to get better. He has so much ahead of him. I love Austin Matthews. I think this is a great contract. This obviously brings questions for Mitch Marner because he is going to be a free agent. If he wants like $8-9 million, they can do it. I can't see him getting more than that. I don't think he's worth more than that. But I do think that he would re-sign with the Maple Leafs for $8 or $9 million.
Listen, I got to tell you, as good as the Maple Leafs have done this offseason, putting my fandom aside, bringing in John Tavares, getting
it really is amazing. It's amazing how they do
crazy
everything. Like Frederik Andersen gets a ton of money. Like John Tavares, Austin Matthews.
I mean, look, the Maple Leafs are doing everything right. They are completely all in this year.
Yes.
As we know, they traded for Jake Muzzin,
yes.
which you liked. You liked him on the Kings. They need defensive help, but this kind of restricts them a little bit.
Yes, it is. The only person they can really sign is Mitch Marner. They can't, unless they trade people, but
I doubt they're going to want to trade.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Do you think there's a realistic shot that Marner could leave?
If he wants, if he wants a contract like Austin Matthews, that much money, he's going to leave because it's not possible for Maple Leafs to do unless they trade somebody with a big contract, which I don't think that they're going to do. Yeah. So I personally think that Mitch Marner will ask for $8 or $9 million, and that Maple Leafs can do that, and he will stay a Maple Leaf. I don't think that he wants to be anywhere else.
We've heard that before, but
no. But you realize with this contract, the days of players taking like hometown discounts and all that stuff is really over. The players want to get paid, which I get. And
deservingly so.
I get that, but you also have to think of the other players on your team. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, they take less money, and they're some of the best players in the world.
And that's why
for other teams, for other players to get signed, to be able to get contracts, and that's why they were back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, because they're smart with their money, and they have the star players that are willing to take pay cuts to keep the other players that
Yeah, and also, Matt, going to football, Tom Brady. He does the same thing.
Yeah.
He very well should be.
And I respect that a lot.
I do, too.
Whoever it is. I really do respect that. Obviously, with this contract, you see all the free agents that are going to want to get paid. Matthew Tkachuk, Patrick Laine. I mean, everybody. It's crazy.
Isn't Rantanen supposed to cash in, too?
Yes, Sebastian Aho.
Yeah, I believe so.
Everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like, when you get a contract like this, it sets the bar for every other contract, because Austin Matthews, like, the players like Tkachuk and Aho, they're just as good as him. So they deserve to get paid. If they want that.
And you know what? I do like this deal for Matthews. I think it suits him very well, but I'm worried about the Maple Leafs' future, because now they have to start getting cost-conscious.
Yes.
Now they have to start possibly shedding people, if possible. Like, I don't know, one name that comes to mind, Zach Hyman, Nikita Zaitsev. Like, you have to start shedding these people, because you know for a fact, they signed Tavares long-term. He's not going anywhere. Matthews isn't going anywhere.
Even like Ron Hainsey. Like, you don't need Ron Hainsey on your team.
No, you really don't.
You know what I mean?
But I like Dubas. I hate him for July 1st. That's it. I hate him for July 1st. That's about it. But I respect him. I respect the way that he's running.
He's young.
Show. He's very young.
And this is how the NHL is going to look.
And listen, I like the Maple Leafs' future. I think that money's going to be tight, but it's not Edmonton Oilers type. Like, this is not that bad.
Right, and then going back to taking a pay cut. Connor McDavid did not take a pay cut.
No, he did not.
That really hurt them.
And same with Leon Draisaitl. He didn't take a pay cut either. And it's not that they don't deserve it, but you have to think of the other players on your team. Obviously, Edmonton lost a couple of people. They are absolutely horrible. So you have to think maybe they should have taken a little less money.
I happen to agree with you.
I agree, too.
All right, so let's go to Nashville, Matt's second favorite team.
Stop.
So they trade a second-round pick to New Jersey for Brian Boyle and a 2020 seventh-round pick to the Rangers for Cody McLeod. Just to note, that second-round pick is in this year's draft. Eleanor, what do you think of Nashville's moves?
So I think they were good. They wanted to add size and toughness because obviously Austin Watson was suspended indefinitely on January 29th under the NHL's substance abuse program. So they don't have him. And Zach Ronaldo is out for the rest of the season after shoulder surgery. So they want size, toughness. They got it with Brian Boyle, and they got it with McLeod too. I mean,
and McLeod, I kind of like. He's kind of
like it too. I mean, he is what he is.
Yeah, like that's it. Like, you know what you're going to get. Boyle, at least can score a little bit, and he's a big dude,
and he's such like a likable person too.
Can I ask you something? This is kind of like for the Islanders' sake in here, we heard the Islanders being rumored to Brian Boyle. Do you think that would have made sense for them?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
And I really thought New Jersey, that Brian Boyle was the first person that was going to go.
Which,
which I get. He's getting up there in age. Obviously, his health
a wonderful
issues.
Story.
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing is...
and it was good for Nashville, though.
I get it, but a second-round pick? I mean,
I think that's fair.
Isn't that a little like...
Some people have been saying that it was a little too high.
It seems a little
Yeah.
too high. Like, honestly, when I saw the second-round pick, I was kind of shocked.
Me too.
Because I don't think he's, like, that good. Again, I think he's a great story. I think he's a good player. He's not great, but he's
Yeah,
good.
he's average.
He's not even average. He's above that.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. He's a good person. He's a good locker room presence. He was with the Rangers. He was with the Lightning. And he was with the Devils.
Yeah.
He's clearly a fan favorite. But maybe a second-round pick could have been a little bit too much, you think?
No, I really think that it was fair.
All right.
I really do.
Okay.
All right, Eleanor has spoken. And now, speaking of Nashville, Emil Pettersson got traded for Adam Heluka, Laurent Dauphin to Arizona. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, so Arizona is looking for more centers because Brad Richardson, Nick Schmaltz, and Christian Dvorak are all hurt, and those are their centers. Alex Galchenyuk started the season as a center, but he's playing wing now, so they needed a center, which is what they got in Pettersson. He is the older brother of Elias Pettersson, who is tearing it up for Vancouver.
He's your Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so...
Definitely. I'm sorry, the Calder. The kid that won the Calder.
So yeah, I think it's good for them. He's never played an IHL game. He's just been playing in the AHL, but he does well in the AHL. Coyotes have more room to work with when bringing players up to play like at the professional level than Nashville does, because Coyotes have a little less talent. But
and Nashville's more in win now, so they have
and
this.
Coyotes, like, they need centers, so that'll be something to look for the trade deadline.
Yes.
They have a lot of young prospects that they could trade away. Matthew Shane, Braden Chen, Jeff Carter, and Kevin Hayes are all centers that I think are going to be big trade deadline targets. So you'll see if Coyotes trade away somebody like Jacob Chikrin or Clayton Keller if you want to trade. I don't think you should
Would
trade
you?
away. I would not.
Wow,
But that
Clayton Keller.
you could do if you want to get like Matthew Shane. Somebody like that's going to have to go. Lawson Krause.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do that.
So I wouldn't do it either.
I don't-
but I'm
Very
just
risky.
saying. I'm just saying the
Very
players that
risky
they
trade.
could potentially trade.
No, I
for
get that.
a good center.
I totally
Yes.
get that, but I'm just saying, you just mentioned like Clayton Keller for Matthew Shane. That like made me like squirmish. Like,
yeah,
I don't
no,
thi-
of course I would never do it. But
No, I get it, but if I'm Arizona, I wouldn't
Yes,
even think
no,
about that. Not
no.
at all. But, just something else that I wanted to bring up. Obviously, you know that Philadelphia is basically ready to pack it all in. Everyone except Claude Giroux is on the market. So, the biggest name that I think would go is probably Wayne Simmons.
Yes.
Or Gostisbehere, I think
Wayne
would be.
Simmons is going to be gone by the time the trade deadline comes.
What do you think could use a guy like him? Because he's a big dude. He's not like Brian Boyle big, but he's a big dude. He can score. He's kind of an enforcer, not really.
Again, I think that Arizona could use somebody like that. I think Carolina could use somebody like that. I would say a team that's not in a win now.
Not in a win now team
Yeah.
for Wayne Simmons. So
Yeah.
probably Philadelphia would ask for.
Yeah.
If you're Philly, would you even ask for like a couple of prospects, second round pick, maybe if you're lucky a first round pick for a
Yeah.
guy like Simmons?
Yeah, definitely.
I would.
I mean, why
Definitely.
not?
I would say like
Definitely.
throw in like 2 prospects maybe and a pick. Yeah.
Now, what do you think of the Rangers? Are like, and the reason why I'm asking about this because they just sold off McLeod.
Yes.
Now, in my mind, because there were a couple of scouts watching the Rangers the other
Yes.
night, so I would assume it's for Matt Zuccarello, it's for
Right.
Kevin Hayes, maybe one of the younger guys, maybe he's a Banajad if you want to get rid of him, which I don't think I would.
Yeah.
But what kind of team do you think would like to use a guy like Zuccarello?
It's hard.
It's a presence.
hard.
Very, very tough.
It's a presence. I think. I would think it would be for a win now team. Zuccarello is one of those players that you would like to see them earn a ring, but I don't know who would be out there.
The first team that comes to my mind, they are definitely not a win now team. But somebody I could see Matt Zuccarello really helping is Ottawa.
Okay.
That was the first team that came to my mind. Obviously, they're absolutely horrible, and it's just bad there. But Matt Zuccarello, so many people love him. I think that he'd be great for Ottawa in general.
It just gives fans a reason to come to the games because, look, the Rangers are, in my
And again,
mind...
Rangers have a lot of great prospects to trade if they want to trade.
But would you do that right now? Because the Rangers aren't going anywhere yet.
I don't know.
I don't think I would, honestly. I really don't think I would, because the Rangers, I think they're on the right path, because, I keep harping on it. I like Quinn a lot.
Yes,
I think he's a
I
very
do
good
too.
coach, but you have to shed these guys that have no business.
I personally don't think Kevin Chattenkirk should be on the Rangers.
Stahl?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely
think so,
not.
too.
Stahl's the big one.
Henrik
Yeah.
Lundqvist, I mean...
He's going to retire, I think, in the next year
he's
or
coming
two.
to the end.
Yeah, but at
I
that
think.
point, if you want to put Lundqvist on the market, are you trading for the name or the production? Because I feel like if you're trading for the production...
I don't even honestly think that they could get anybody, really, for him.
I don't think so either.
His trade value is so
It's
low
down.
at this point.
Yeah, well, at that point, whoever
if they were going to trade him, they should have done it in 2014 after the
I
Stanley
agree.
They
Cup.
should have. That was
Right
a
after-
final loss.
That was his peak.
right after the finals. But
Yes.
again, at that point, if you're a team that really is looking for a goaltender, I'm not even going to throw St. Louis out there because if I'm them, I wouldn't want Lundqvist either. I like the way Bennington's playing.
Right.
I want a backup. Lundqvist is not a backup. He can start. But at that point, in my mind, you're trading for the name, not the production.
Right.
And the
I
Rangers.
agree.
The Rangers have a bad defense. That's
Yes,
why
they
Lundqvist
do.
has been so poor
I
this
honestly
year.
think that Lundqvist will probably retire.
You think so?
I don't think he
Yeah.
wants to go anywhere else. And I just think his time is coming to an end.
And you know what? It should have come
And it's
to an
sad,
end. It is
but-
sad.
It's
But
very
you know
sad.
what? You know
He's
what?
one of those guys that I will forever wish got a Stanley Cup.
Me too.
And honestly,
Ugh.
and look at us. We're Islander fans. We respect.
I
Listen,
love Lundqvist.
hate the Rangers. Sorry, it happens.
Yeah.
It's natural. You're a Ranger fan. You hate the Islanders and the Devils. Either way around. I respect Henrik Lundqvist
Yeah,
so much. I think
you
he's
have
such
to.
a genuine, nice
Yes.
guy. I think I saw him outside Madison Square Garden once, and I wasn't sure if it was him, but it was a nice
My
guy in
brother
a
met
suit.
him.
Your brother meets everybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, like her brother's a goalie, as you know. She went to which camp did he go to?
Mitch Korn.
Mitch Korn's camp.
Yes,
Did you
and he
recognize the
did,
name?
and he, the person that was also at that camp, and they were in the same group, was Spencer Knight, who was the backup goalie for the Team USA in the World Juniors this past World Juniors. So, and he's going to get drafted. He's one of the highest ranked goaltenders for this year's draft.
That's
So,
amazing.
That's
it's
awesome.
crazy who you meet. And Marshall Warren, Danny Waite, obviously Doug Waite's son.
Yeah.
They are top draft prospects for this year, and my brother played with them for 2 years. So
Just hang
it's
around
a small
James.
world. Yeah, hang around James.
Just
yeah,
hang
yeah.
around, James. You might get to meet a ton of people. Eleanor, thank you so much for your insight. Always love hearing you talk. Eleanor Chompy, everybody. But when we come back, we have to talk about the madness that was the NBA trade deadline. Did Anthony Davis go anywhere? Here's the short answer. No, but tune in anyway.
Hey, what's up? This your guy DJ Steph with the F. And if you didn't tune in last week to It's Saucy, this is what you missed. Yeah, but you know what's so funny? I found funny is like, remember that time Meek Mill donated like $50K to like Philadelphia public schools, and then Drake topped him with like $100K.
That's so petty.
It's just like
Free
you
Meek.
and that petty stuff.
Free
Yo,
Meek.
stop that. Because we had a problem the other day. I ain't gonna say it, but you know I'm not petty.
First of all, you're
know I'm not
super petty
No, I'm
because
not.
you be throwing low blows and sneak dissing on air. First you did it to my man Vaughn P last week.
I said we have interesting people here.
Now
I was at throwing
you
shots.
trying to come for me?
I'm not coming for you. I'm just saying that, it hurt me, Sam. It really did. If you don't want to miss out on moments like this, plus hip-hop and reggae music, then tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m. on the Voice of Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC.
See, I was looking for one that'd be out of nowhere. You like it? You like
One.
it?
Jesus.
What?
Yeah, you found the one. This is the one that's out of nowhere. No one wants to hear this crap unless you're at a wedding.
That's not
funeral.
That's a what? Whoa! What's the matter? Listen, it's the NBA trade deadline. It's all fun and games.
Not if
until-
you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah,
say,
no.
unless you're a fan of the New York Knicks, help us, please. There's a window out here. We can't even jump out. It's only climb.
If only this was alcohol.
Where'd you get that flask? It's nice.
That's a thermos. It's nice to know what you actually put your drugs in. I mean, your alcohol in.
I am a good boy. I'm the all-American boy, white picket fence, baseball games, all
People,
that
let me
stuff.
tell you, he's full of crap.
That is not entirely true. Not entirely true. So,
He does crap sometimes. Go ahead.
I don't like you. So, let's get into the NBA trade deadline. But first, I'm Rick Richetti alongside me, Nick Ornberger.
That's me.
Yeah, I know. And Matt Sharkaway.
What up?
What's happening? What a fun deadline, right?
This was really interesting.
Yeah, the Knicks couldn't find pieces for Enes Kanter or Wesley Matthews, so instead
Poor
the Knicks
Kanter.
buy him out. What do you guys think of that?
Oh,
Poor Cantor.
Well, I mean, not poor Cantor. First of all, his issues are not the Knicks. I feel terrible for Cantor, what's going on with him. If you haven't been following it, it's essentially a political... I'm not going to go as far as...
He's a political enemy.
Yeah,
It's
of Turkey.
Okay.
And it's a horrible thing to watch happen to a person. But as a fan of sports, it's the same reason people get pissed off about people kneeling for the national anthem or whatever. You don't want to see it in sports. I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand it. And for me personally, as a Knicks fan, it was a huge distraction from the rest of this year. This dude is being threatened with his life from another nation, not another team,
and
not an assailant.
And a former NBA player who is also of Turkish descent, Hidal Turkoglu.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
The whole situation is absolutely insane. I'm glad for the Knicks' sake that Enes Kanter is no longer a Knick. Not to say I didn't appreciate the way he played when he played. I thought
how
Enes
he embraced the city.
Yeah,
he loved it here.
He loves it here. Having said that, I'm just glad yet another distraction that the Knicks seem to constantly force on themselves is gone. Also, having said that, I think... I don't know. What do you think about this? Because I'm trying to clear my head of it.
Wesley Matthews?
Yeah. What are the Knicks trying to do?
Well,
someone tell me.
The days before the deadline, they started Wesley Matthews in the starting five, and the reason why they did that
2 games, Eric.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, they started him to get his trade value up. He played horrible in both games,
yes.
So therefore they found no trade partners whatsoever. But everyone under the sun that is in an NBA front office knew that Kanter and Matthews were not going to be Knicks by the end of the deadline, so that automatically said to all these teams, all right, cool, we'll just wait it out. We'll take our chances. Who's going to trade for these guys that they already know are going to be bought out? Kanter was a different story, though, because I think Kanter has more to bring to the game than Wesley Matthews.
I agree.
But, with that being said, the reason why they played Matthews is to get his trade value up, and I think he shot like 1 for 5 or whatever. He was terrible. He was terrible in both games, so therefore both of them got out. I don't believe any one of them got claimed. I heard Kanter was linked to the Celtics, which would have been interesting. I heard Wesley Matthews linked to the Rockets and the Warriors, which would have been, interesting. I guess you're kind of ring chasing if you're in Houston also. But either way, I think it was moves that needed to happen, but these teams weren't going to throw a bone to the Knicks in terms of giving them a draft pick because they knew that they were going to leave anyway. So therefore, the Knicks had to do their business properly, and therefore the only way to do this properly is to cut them both loose. That's it.
I guess. I mean, look, the bottom line for me is you just made a trade for a superstar athlete that appeared to, other than 2 round draft picks that may wind up being nothing other than a 13 to 18 overall pick in 2 upcoming drafts. It means nothing to me. And then 2 people, one of which that you decided to immediately just get rid of. I am a little bit perturbed by the way the Knicks have decided to on-go the next 2 years. And more importantly, I believe that if the Knicks do not sign, and I mean this, if the Knicks don't sign a Kevin Durant, a Kyrie Irving, a Kawhi Leonard, whoever the hell.
Kemba Walker, too.
I don't want Walker. He's a B-level star. Kemba Walker's garbage.
I'm
a Kemba Walker fan. He's a UConn grad. He won the Big East tournament, one of the last Big East tournaments, and a national championship alongside DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, you're right.
Big fan of Kemba Walker. I don't want him as a pro. He's not He's not good. He won't win you a championship.
He's not the player that you want to build around. Is
now,
what you're
having
saying.
said that,
can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
Butler. Yeah, you're right.
I don't want a single thing to do with him. He is a head case among head cases.
His attitude,
I want nothing to do with Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Quite frankly, I don't want anything to do with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a star on either side of the court. I can deal with it.
He's injury prone, though.
But he feels like you know what he feels like to me? He's not all that injured.
He's not injured.
Well, no, not all the time.
He had a bad injury that, whatever happened with the Spurs happened.
And having said that, and who knows what the actual truth to that was?
Nobody even knows.
No one actually knows. So I'm not going to get into that. What I'm going to get into is Kawhi Leonard comes off to me as a Carmelo Anthony that's just better at defense. A me guy. It's about my career, not the team. And, yeah, I'll play defense for you also, aside from scoring you 22 points a game.
How do you get that feeling from Kawhi? He doesn't even say anything.
He does because he that media.
Did you see him last year? He hasn't said anything in the last month, 6 months, 7 months.
Isn't that just
I understand.
him?
That's just him.
Isn't that just him? That
no.
Really speak?
Do you remember how vocal he was a few months ago to get out of San Antonio?
Some people, I guess that some people just don't want to be. It's the same thing. That's why I think that Kawhi isn't going anywhere where the spotlight is. Think about it. If he had the opportunity to come to New York or Los Angeles, now hear me out. I think for both cases he would choose either the Clippers or the Nets because they're still in the shadow of the Lakers and the Knicks. How bad the Knicks are, the Nets in some ways are still in the shadow in terms of popularity, not in terms of production. The Nets are better, but for some reason, just in popularity, the Nets are just behind the Knicks for whatever reason. I'll never know. But same thing with LA. The Lakers and the Clippers play in the same arena, and the Clippers don't even get enough love for what they do. The Lakers,
if at all.
What have the Clippers done other than dismantle their entire team, get rid of Chris Paul, get rid of DeAndre Jordan?
I'm not talking about this year specifically.
I'm not saying you are. What I'm suggesting is that there's a reason people gravitate towards the Knicks rather than the Nets, to the Lakers rather than the Clippers. It's because they spend the requisite money to bring in stars. Now, just because the Knicks are completely inept, just because the Knicks can't get out of their own way every single time they try to improve their franchises beyond the point. The Nets traded away 3 or 4 years of their future for a 33, 35, and 36-year-old to try and win a championship
Terry,
now.
Garnett, and Pierce.
So, having said that, no, I agree with the sense that, yes, the Knicks are more popular than the Nets. Having said that, no one's coming to either team. They're both in New York. And because of that, they're both under the same scrutiny that the New York media provides. The Knicks a little more hard because they're directly in the city and because they've been a more established franchise. They've won finals championships in both 69 and 73. So, yeah. This is a hard time to be a Knicks fan. I'm sorry if I'm a little emotional about it. I'm sorry I'm a little emotional that they traded away Porzingis for a song, especially considering the draft picks they're getting back are going to be worth nothing in 2 years. I'm sorry that I don't believe that Durant is going to come to this team because he has no reason to do so.
Did you see what Durant did the other day with the media? If that's San Francisco, that's the Bay Area. Can you imagine? If York?
He's here? Oh, he would go on a tear.
I saw this from, now don't laugh, Barstool, okay? But this one guy from Barstool basically said, can someone tell Kevin Durant that even when and if he comes to the Knicks, that Dolan and Madison Square Garden can regulate what questions are asked? Because the Knicks don't like criticism either.
No.
So that kind of struck because that kind of struck me as okay, that's actually kind of true, but is that even enough? Because this is still the New York media. TMZ runs wild over here as it does anywhere else. You can get asked questions anywhere. People are going to know who you are.
Oh yeah, Kevin Durant wouldn't go 2 minutes without being noticed trying to get a slice of pizza here.
No, but honestly, just think about it. That's Oakland. They're moving to San Francisco.
Yeah.
That media outlet out there, if that got him frustrated, then there's no way he would come here.
Yeah.
If the media is your enemy in the sense, which let's be real, sometimes it is, but if that's the main thing that's stopping you, no shot he's coming here. The media out here is
they chew him up easy.
Why do you think they call us the concrete jungle? Because everybody is freaking animals over here.
They will chew him up and spit Kevin Durant out. This is the guy who signed on to a different Twitter account to engage with people about. I mean, it's just he screams the wrong guy for New York.
But is that going to stop you from wanting to acquire him?
No, it doesn't stop me from wanting to acquire him.
Because
it just stops me from thinking that he would want to be here because he knows that would be a bigger story here than anywhere. That story went away. It would never go away in New York. Never.
I get it, but just believe it or not, there are people that are saying that stops me from getting Kevin Durant. I think they're crazy.
I think they're
all right.
Too.
This is the second best player in the NBA. First debatable. Maybe, but still,
not debatable.
What first best player in the NBA?
LeBron James still the greatest player in the NBA.
He always will.
Without question.
Yeah, well, Kevin Durant.
I need to see some drop off before I say so.
Either way, you understand what I'm saying. Kevin Durant is still in the conversation of being the best, if not one of the best players in the NBA. I think it's LeBron James. You think it's LeBron James, Matt? I'm pretty sure you think it's LeBron James.
Eleanor thinks it's LeBron James or Kevin Durant. There, Eleanor.
I don't don't know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eleanor, for your wisdom and sage advice.
That's like the guy not voting for Mariano Rivera. It doesn't count.
I love your input on basketball.
No, I love it, but I'm just saying.
It's like my input on hockey.
It's like, yeah, Devils. Great, they're a team. But still, we digress. We digress. The fact that Kevin Durant got so flustered in Oakland over the media, there's no shot. If that's the main reason why, you're not going to sign here, that's number one, ridiculous on your part, because either way, the media outlets are so tough everywhere you go. Just in New York, it's just a different animal. Because again, we said it last week, Alan Hahn said it before, and I think it's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. When you have New York on your chest, it's the heaviest jersey in the NBA. You're going to be a hero when you do something great. You're going to be a villain when you do something bad or lose. And right now, everyone in New York that's not winning is a villain. That's it. That just is what it is. Now, speaking of the other team in New York, Brooklyn.
Right. Brooklyn. They Dwight Howarded Greg Monroe.
Yeah, they did. They traded him. Brooklyn traded for Greg Monroe and a second-round pick. What do you think of that move? I think the thing that screams out to me as good move is the pick, because you got to accumulate assets.
Well, you accumulate assets, which is fine. They. I don't know if I'm just reading this. I don't know how recent this report is. They have immediately released him. So Greg Monroe is not a Net. He is now a free agent.
Oh, well, Dwight Howard.
Well, then.
So, that's what I was saying. They've Dwight Howarded Greg Monroe. They decided to, I guess, buy him out where another team didn't want to, and they were willing to give up a second-round pick to allow the Nets to do so. So, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. I mean, it's like $7 million worth of cap room? Who cares?
I guess so. But the thing that screams that this is a good move for the Nets is in terms of the asset. That's the only thing that's making it a good move, because second-round picks aren't nothing. They're genuinely not nothing. The assets.
Look at Isaiah Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. The assets count. So, therefore, yeah, it's a kind of a nothing trade. Yeah, the Nets bought out Monroe, but just imagine when Greg Monroe and Dwight Howard make the Hall of Fame. They're going to be next. What?
You said imagine, and I'm looking at your shirt.
Oh.
Eric's wearing a Beatles shirt, so when he said that, I started losing it. He said, let it be. Like the Knicks should just let everything be and just stop trying. Anyway, there's another thing going on and stuff and things.
Yeah, and things. Let's go to Cleveland. Let's go to... Where are we as a show? So, Cleveland traded Rodney Hood to Portland for Nick Stauskas, Wade Baldwin, and a 2021 and 2023 second-round draft pick, and then released guard Kobe Simmons. So, what do we think about this one? You obviously shed Rodney Hood, who was a big acquisition when LeBron was there. So, what do you guys think about this move?
I think that the way Cleveland has absolutely dismantled this team,
it's staggering.
In a year.
It's
in a year, not even 7 months, is freaking remarkable. Do you know how hard it is to move, to get as bad as the Cleveland Cavaliers have just gotten bad in the amount of time they've done so is remarkable. They have made themselves the worst team in the NBA in 7 months. That's hard to do.
Hey, that's not true. The Knicks are worse.
I don't know. From this point on, pick today. And let's go to the end of the season. Let's see who's worse. I guarantee you it's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I think it's the Knicks.
I really hope that's not true.
I'm sorry. I think it's the Knicks.
Next trade.
Next one. So the Wizards acquired Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker and a 2023 second-round pick from the Chicago Bulls for Otto Porter Jr. What do we think about this one?
I'm a little sad.
What are the Wizards doing?
For Otto, for nobody else, Otto Porter was a really... was a really good bowl. I like Otto Porter Jr. I thought that this is a dude that was not used the right way. His coach was taken away from him very early on in his career, so I don't know what he would have turned out to be under a Thibodeau system. This is the defense first kind of player. I look to the future to think that Otto Porter Jr. can still be a legitimate role player or a six-man type player, defensive stopper kind of player in the NBA. I like the idea of Otto Porter. He's one of these 3-and-D guys.
Yeah.
Having said that, sending away a guy. Do you remember a few years ago when we were talking about who's going to be the better the better pro, Jabari Parker or Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, man, yeah.
And is that even a question mark now?
No, because I think Jabari Parker hasn't been the same, and Wiggins has kind of been underwhelming.
We were talking about these guys like they were throwaway, no brain. Both these guys. One of them is going to be an elite player. The other guy's going to be a solid shooter, solid player in this league for years to come, and neither happened.
That was when a lot of people were paying attention to. I believe more so than now. To Duke and Kansas.
Yes, thinking that was the standard. If you came from Duke and Kansas, for some reason you matter. Doesn't matter that DeMarcus Cousins came from Connecticut, or even Kemba Walker came from Connecticut.
I thought Cousins was Kentucky.
I'm sorry, Kentucky. Or Kemba Walker came from Connecticut, or other guys came from smaller schools. Who's the kid that came out of Vanderbilt that's doing really, really good now? I forget his name.
Luke Cornett.
No. There's another guy. It'll come to me later.
Kevin Durant's out of Texas.
No. That's a good point. But there's a guy who came out of Vanderbilt. It'll come to me later. But Frank something. I don't remember his name. But he's
Kaminsky?
Frank Kaminsky.
He wasn't from Vanderbilt.
I don't think he was from there. No.
He was from Wisconsin.
Oh, that's right, Wisconsin.
Because you
know why you remember that?
Because Duke in Wisconsin, 2015.
That's right.
Frank the Tank. I wanted him.
And he's turned out to be a decent NBA player. You look lower in these rounds unless there is a no-brain talent. It's not always
like a Karl Anthony Towns.
Right. It's not always gonna be like that. You're not always gonna have 2011's Kyrie Irving or 2003's D. Wade, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, blah, blah, blah. It's not always going to be that way.
You remember Darko?
Wasn't he the... No, he was the third overall pick?
Yeah, he was number 3.
Yeah, that was a terrible pick. Having said that, I do. Chris Bosh was in that draft.
Yeah, Chris Bosh was there too.
So, I mean, it's not always going to be like that. People need to stop valuing the draft like high picks matter. What matters is a front office that knows what they're doing. And unfortunately... As a Knicks fan, do you have any faith that this front office knows at all what they're doing?
Honestly, to be completely honest with you, it is too early to tell because they have not been tested right now.
This is the biggest trade.
Yeah, this is. I love this trade.
Oh, you mean the Philadelphia 76ers acquiring Tobias Harris, who I think is going to go to Brooklyn next year?
Yes.
And Boban Marjanovic, the big man, Mike Scott from the Los Angeles Clippers for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, the former Knick, who I missed, and Mike Muscala, a lot of protected 2020 first-round draft pick, a 2021 first rounder, a 2021 second, and a 2023 second round pick. Philly wins.
Without a doubt.
Without a question.
Without a doubt.
Philly got scary. And if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm worried.
They have a real shot to win the East now.
And Philly
that starting 5 is crazy good
and
now.
They make a secondary pick, getting rid of Markelle Fultz and acquire...
Yeah, that was not much of a surprise.
For a number 1 overall.
Was it, though?
I mean, first overall pick a few years ago, and he just declined after that injury he had.
Think about it.
It's mind-blowing.
Matt,
well,
just
not
think
mind-blowing.
No, it kind of is, because Markelle Fultz was supposed to be this great
He was supposed
talent.
to be the savior of the Sixers.
Just think about it. You remember who had the first pick originally? Boston.
Yeah, that's right. They traded.
Back to 3 and still got their guy.
Who did they take? They took Tatum, right?
They took
Yes,
Tatum,
they did.
who is in now trade talks for Anthony Davis. What? Oh my God.
NBA is so fun.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. This is why the NBA trade deadline is the most fun trade deadline in any sport. And I'm sorry, Eleanor, that includes hockey. That includes hockey.
Nodding.
You don't see anywhere near this many A-list stars move in any other sport other than the NBA.
No, you're right.
Hockey comes in a close second.
I agree with that.
Baseball? Not
you don't
really.
know. You don't.
Nah.
They're 3. The NFL is last.
Of course.
Nobody moves in the NFL. Baseball comes 3. You don't get it. You Cespedes every year.
Do you remember in the NFL where the biggest name that could have been moved was Joe Thomas?
Joe Thomas.
To the Giants. Oh my God.
People in New York are freaking out. Joe Thomas. Yes.
That's because the Giants still didn't have an offensive line. Oh my God. But again, another huge trade. Memphis, they traded Marc Gasol.
That was interesting.
For Jonas Valanciunas, CJ Miles, and DeLon Wright, and a 2024 second round pick. Something to note, they kept Mike Conley.
That is the most meaningful trade of this deadline. The Raptors are all in now.
This is their shot.
Championship this year, or we don't win anything.
This is their shot. LeBron is not in the East anymore. Dwayne Casey's not your coach.
Right.
This is your shot. You traded DeMar DeRozan, which was a head scratcher at the time, at least for me. I don't know. I don't know if it was for either one of you. You traded your best player in DeMar DeRozan, got someone even better in Kawhi Leonard, and look at them. I mean, Toronto kind of didn't even miss a beat. No. Toronto wins this trade.
Toronto wins this trade, and Toronto, right now, my favorites, NBA Finals. I think this is going to be a Raptors-Warriors final right now. I'll call it right now. With Marc Gasol, with that inside presence, not being able to cut in free and easy like you always are able to when you're Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, this is a huge, huge move.
I got to tell you, for me, it's still Philly.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I said Philly at the beginning of the season. I'm sticking with them. I think Toronto did a hell of a trade here. I think they got an outstanding presence. Did you know that since the Grizzlies moved from Vancouver to Memphis, I believe it was 2000 or something, they always had a Gasol brother on the team. Not anymore. Because Powell was there, Mark was there.
For how long? For between what years?
When they moved to Memphis.
So that's 2000 and...
I think it was 2000.
I think it's 2000, yeah. So for the last 19 years...
They had a Gasol brother.
That's interesting.
That's pretty interesting, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's very interesting.
It's crazy. So, to keep it going, the Milwaukee Bucks acquired Nikola Mirotic from New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Jason Smith, former Knick, and Stanley Johnson, and 4 second-round picks. Bucks win. Bucks got a very good shooter. They got a very good presence. Since he was in Chicago, Mirotic has been very highly thought of, and the Bucks mean so much business right now. Now you have Giannis. Now you have Middleton. Now you have Bledsoe. Now you have Mirotic. You have a bunch of different players on your team. Now Milwaukee is going to be making a lot of noise. That's a dark horse. You want to talk about dark horses for the Eastern Conference Finals? Milwaukee. Milwaukee has to be up there because you already got Toronto. You have Boston. You have Philadelphia. Milwaukee has to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I agree, but 4 second-round picks.
That's a lot.
Oh, no, they're desperate.
That means
that's
something.
A lot.
That's a lot of picks. That's a lot of talent to receive.
I get it, but you're one of the 4 best teams in the East right now. You have to shoot high, no pun intended, because Mirotic is a very good shooter, but you have to shoot high in that sense. If you're going to be good for a while, sometimes those picks don't mean as much as you think it does. Guys, I know we had a lot to get to. If you wanted to stick it in for the closer, you absolutely can. This show is brought to you by the wonderful people here on 90.3 WHPC. Time for us to bring in the closure because we need a lot of closure because I mispronounced that word. So, Nick, let's start with you.
Brett Gardner.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
Yes.
At the 3, Gleyber Torres at the 2. Bryce Harper at the 4. Go ahead with Giancarlo Stanton at the 5. Go to Gary Sanchez at the 6. Give me Aaron Hicks at the 7. Torres. No. Yeah, Miguel Andujar at the 8. And give me, tourist. And give me, I'll take Luke Voigt at first base. I think that's your Yankee lineup. This year, I think Bryce Harper's a Yankee.
That's just not fair. Matt?
I am so glad Anthony Davis is not a Los Angeles Laker as of right now.
LeBron's not.
I think what they were trying to do, basically trying to give up their entire 2017 roster for one player, I think it was way too much.
I think so too. Eleanor?
I want to congratulate my London Knights. They become the first team in the OHL this season to clinch playoffs. Go Knights, go!
Yay, London Knights!
Yay, Eleanor's London Knights. So the All-Star Game draft happened over the weekend.
It did.
And isn't it funny? Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, I don't know, all the people that LeBron James are trying to convert to being Lakers, it's tampering. You should get in trouble. Giannis is right. That's tampering. But according to LeBron, there's no rules at the All-Star Game. Yeah, that's also right, too. So, from Nick Ornberger, from Matt Charkwick, welcome back. How did that moose wrestling thing go?
Went pretty
good.
I
Nice. From Eleanor Ciampi, I'm Eric Fischetti.
How do you win against the moose?
Easy. He's Matt. I'm Eric Fischetti. And in the wise words of Jack Black, I'll catch you guys on the flip-flop.